prices of healthcare. It's a big question mark always. You go in to see a doctor. You can't have a market of anything without prices. It's a major reason why healthcare is such a mess. We don't know the prices. Nobody knows what anything costs when you go into the dentist or, your nurse practitioner or whomever, even though the vast majority of medical services are not emergencies. In President Trump's first term, he took this problem on by mandating that hospitals that participate in Medicare and Medicaid, all of them do, of course, post their prices. Sent out a mandate for it. But compliance was poor, and under President Joe Biden, there was little enforcement. I'm paraphrasing here from a piece that Stephen Moore and our next guest, Phil Kerpen, wrote in Washington Examiner and on American Commitment, where he is the president of, he's on the show regularly. Phil Kerpen, welcome on to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, my pleasure. Great to be with you, Mike.
Yes, always love your segments. I also see, and I'm going to talk to you later on if we have time, about a very terrible topic, which is our shared love of the New York Mets. We're both Mets fans.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. That's
one of the worst, if not the worst teams in baseball. Yeah, we're gonna bore our listeners if we start getting into that. But a lot of our listeners, being White Sox fans, are thrilled about their comeback. I don't know that the Mets have that in their future. Anyway, prices for medical costs. What is going on now with this mandate that President Trump tried to enact in his first term? Biden didn't do anything about it. Where are we at in Trump's second term?
Well, they have sent out some letters saying that they're going to start issuing fines. The problem is that the fines that they can issue under the current law are they're pretty small. I mean, they can do like $1 million, $2 million fines, stuff like that. Now, that sounds like a lot of money to me and you. To these gigantic hospital systems, it's not that much, and they're probably going to fight even those. And so we really need a better law. We need a better transparency law from Congress. It's very hard to get anything out of Congress these days, but I will say, at least at the committee level, we've now got pretty good transparency laws that have passed out of committee, both in the House and Senate. Now, whether we can get them to the floor, whether you can get the votes, get past filibuster, all of that, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually going to be possible, but there is some cause for optimism, which is Chuck Schumer got sort of caught red-handed, and the man's apparently more capable of shame than I thought, because it was reported that he told the big hospital systems in New York that they had a veto over anything he did, and he would never sign on to any bill that they hadn't approved. And after it was reported, suddenly he was willing to do health care legislation. I think he was a little bit embarrassed that was reported. And so it may be possible that we could see some legislation that would strengthen it. I really prefer that they make it the simplest possible bill in the world that just says if you aren't told the price before you receive a medical service, you don't have to pay for it. I guarantee if they pass that, there would be a price for everything.
Yeah, that's great. I was just going to say, I mean, why not increase the fines substantially? Put a zero after the fines. But I like your idea better. Say if they don't tell you the price, it's like an old fast food thing. If we don't say service with a smile or say it's my pleasure, you get it for free. Well, that should apply to healthcare too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that would be the best way to do it. But it does look like, if they do a bill, it will increase fines and have other things in there. I don't think it's going to have what I just suggested, although, we're going to push for that. But look, I mean, here's what I've been telling the hospitals, because they've been fighting transparency tooth and nail. And I'm just telling them, you're going to get something worse. If you don't give us prices, you're going to end up with price controls, which are going to be much worse for everyone, because the state-level politicians in a lot of states now are just putting caps. They're just putting price caps on. They're saying, we're done. You can't charge more than 200% of Medicare, whatever it is. And we've now got that in, I think, Michigan and Indiana, and there are a few other states that are looking at it. And I think that's the wrong solution, by the way, because price caps, price controls, when you put them in, you think they're a ceiling. They end up being a floor over time. You misallocate resources. I want a functioning market. I don't want politicians setting prices. But if they keep stalling and blocking and preventing us from having any kind of functioning, market with real choice and competition, we're going to end up with something worse. I mean, that's what I really fear.
How do you see, because I remember this debate back during Obamacare's fight, and it was a solution that many people said. We need to know the prices of our care. I went into a dermatologist not too long ago, and there was something somewhat minuscule she needed to remove from my arm, and she said, I don't know if insurance is going to cover this. It's kind of a vanity thing. I'll do it. I said, all right, well, I mean, what if I paid out of pocket? She's like, I'll do it for $50. I'm like, what? I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I'm like, and I know I have.
Amazing sometimes it is amazing sometimes how much better prices you can get when you pay cash and you just pay directly as opposed to going through insurance and the bureaucracies and all of that. What I've started doing, sometimes when you go to the pharmacy counter and they surprise you and they tell you your generic is like $60 or something, I say what I started doing. I say, okay, well, can you give me a better price than that if I pay? If I just pay cash, we don't run it through insurance. And I'll be like, oh yeah, then it's $20. And then I started thinking, how can you charge so much less? They say, oh, well, we actually make more money on a cash pay, even though we charge less, because when we do an insurance pay, the insurance company makes us send the money to them.
I mean, this is just such a basic tenet of economics, right? If you subsidize something, the price is going to go up. Or in this case, if you don't say what the price is, and it's something that people need, I mean, for life or death things, I mean, the price can be anything, which is why you can get $400 bills for prescriptions that maybe cost $4. So, I mean, I know you talked about the legislative part of this already, but what do you have any optimism if, let's say, God forbid, the Democrats take over one of the branches of Congress after November, that this is going to be dead and nothing's going to change? Or is this something that President Trump could do an executive order on, like with fines and whatnot?
Well, as I mentioned, he did an executive order in his first term and did another one this time. So there is a push in the administration to try to get more price transparency. The challenge is that we've got a lot of noncompliance. And so, we'll see. Look, they are saying they're going to issue more fines, so we'll see if they're able to get better compliance, but I think a stronger law would help a lot. And as I mentioned, there has been some movement, House and Senate. So I don't have much optimism about Congress doing anything this year on anything, but this looks like an area where maybe there's a possibility. Could it be bipartisan in a future Congress where Democrats control it? I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, we're talking a 90% issue. People think you should know what things cost. I mean, it's a pretty basic thing. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would say everything Democrats have done in healthcare for the last couple of decades has been in the direction of less information, less competition, less choice, more government control, more power in the giant insurance companies. And so it would be a reversal of sorts for them to move in the direction of markets. But, as I said, it's like a 90% issue. So politicians like to get in front of parades sometimes. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it would be challenging. But I think we've got to get this. There are few ingredients that we really need to get done, and we could have huge improvements in how healthcare functions in this country. You've got to have prices. That's number one. That's critical. You can't have a market without them. We need to have a lot more competition and choice. It needs to be much easier to open an independent physicians group, imaging center, clinic, surgical center, and so forth. There are a lot of federal payment policies and tax policies that have really benefited these giant health systems. I'd like to see those corrected so that we could have a lot more new entrants and a lot more independence. So if you have more competition and choice and you've got prices, then the last ingredient you need is people to control their healthcare dollars. And that means not all the money should flow directly to insurance companies from employers or from government programs. If the money's in an account that you own and control, you've got lots of choice of providers who compete with each other, and you've got prices, then you'll have all the elements for a functioning market. And I think we'll have much better healthcare quality and much better prices. So that's the vision that we're trying to push. And everything I just said is 85 to 90% popular with the public. So,
I don't know.
We can generate a little pressure. Maybe it's not impossible.
I don't know if that's high enough. I mean, we have the same amount of people that believe we should have to show a picture ID when we vote. That's upwards of 80%, but somehow it doesn't become law. 90%. I don't know. We need to get it to 95%. You need to show a photo ID to get the Endless Pasta Bowl at Olive Garden, though. Yeah, exactly. They have a stricter policy than our democracy here in the United States as far as proving who you are. Phil Kerpen, you could find him on X at Kerpen, Kerpen. And lastly, before we let you go, do you have any? I know you don't have a lot of optimism about this becoming law, or at least a world where we know the prices of our healthcare immediately. Do you have any optimism that the Mets are going to finish 500 this year?
No. Are you still watching the games, though? That's the question.
Then things are bad when you stop. I stopped checking the box scores in the morning. I did for the last 4 or 5 years, and I stopped doing it.
It's so bad. I still turn it on most nights. So there's something wrong with it. My brother asks, "What are you doing?" I say, "I don't know. I don't know. It's so bad."
Well, the Red Sox had, a 15-game hitting streak, so hope springs eternal.
Yeah, there's no giant winning streak coming to save us. I promise you that.
Phil Kerpen, have a great weekend. Let's go Mets, I guess. And thanks for coming on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Bye.
We will be right back on AM 560. The Answer. Mike Coolidge in for Dan Proft. Don't go anywhere.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled, and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature